one of the things I'm trying to finalize right now is, or get closer and closer, is the cover design. So my wife's actually doing the cover. I've got a bunch of iterations of it, and we can keep playing with it. But if you're willing, I'd actually just share my screen and show you what I've got and
Yeah, let's do
see
that.
what you like or don't like about some of the different options here and get
So
some feedback.
sounds good. Let me know if it will let you share or if I need to make you co-host or
It
something.
looks like it is. Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. So all of the iterations here have a few elements. So the background kind of grid is engineering graph paper, like specific that engineers use. So it very much on theme for the audience here.
Hmm.
The things that we're kind of tweaking and changing is where the text is, the pen or some of the iterations as a pencil, and then also what kind of the background sort of designs that exist are. So most of them have this kind of gear stuff um, behind, but there's a couple other iterations at the bottom. Um, so one piece of feedback that I've gotten is like, hey, this is a pen. I like the nice look of the pen, but like the look of this looks like it's in pencil, so that doesn't really necessarily fit. Um,
Mm.
but I don't really like the look of a number two pencil either, necessarily. Um,
Hmm.
and then you can have the the subtitle right up under the main title or kind of underneath some of that. That's another kind of way to do that. Um, Similar hit on that with whatever thing right underneath there, like that acts as a separator.
That's cool.
Um, this is a mechanical pencil, so still with the pencil, but looks a little bit more. We haven't found yet like a nice looking. Someone's like, hey, maybe there's a Mont Blanc pencil, a really nice one that we could find. I haven't found that yet as far as an image that we could throw on there, but that would be an option too, to find a really nice
Hmm.
looking pencil like that. Um, anyway, and then the main other iterations are down here at the bottom, more of a like a wire diagram type thing, motif here. And then this is like, equations or something that you might have, just as that idea of instead of like the gears or whatever in the
Hmm.
background. Just curious if anything strikes you as that seems to work, that doesn't. Definitely we'd probably move things around so we wouldn't have a bunch of this stuff behind the main like title text and whatever, but it's more just the ideas behind it that we're trying to figure out right
Hmm.
now.
Okay. Cool. Well, my first comment is you could use any of these and it would be fine. It would be okay.
Yeah.
Um, but let's dig into the nitty-gritty a bit
Mhm.
here. What would you say, in your mind, what's the most important part of this cover? What's the most important element?
Mm, the
I
title.
mean, not based on what you're looking at, but if we're just designing from scratch, what should stand out the most?
Yeah, the title, or
Hmm.
from
That's what I'd
design
say
beyond
too.
just, yeah. Hmm.
Because it is the title that hooks people, that gets people to actually read your book. I mean, sometimes cover design, the image, the graphic photo, whatever, the illustration is going to do it. But especially with a how-to business book like this, it's really the title that's going to get people to read it. And when you look at that title, which part of the title would you say is the most important or should be the most important?
So we've certainly emphasized the intentional word right in here. um, uh, so that's what I've been attempting to differentiate that word to make that stand out.
Hmm. And I don't have a answer to this. I'm not trying to
Hmm.
steer you in any direction. I'm just this is how I think about cover design is what do I want to stand out? What do I want people to notice first? So, um, just by comparison, when I was writing my LinkedIn book, the number one thing I wanted to stand out was the word LinkedIn because I wanted people to know this is a LinkedIn book. And so I made sure that the word LinkedIn was the biggest thing on the cover and stood out more than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in your case, it would be easy to say, well, we want engineer to stand out because this is a book for engineers. However, uh, I'm not sure that is the right way to go here. I think maybe you have got it right with having intentional stand out more because you do see the word engineer pretty quickly. It's not like
Mm-hmm.
it fades into the background. I mean, it stands out.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking
And
here
and
as
the
I look at it,
design
but
very much speaks clearly to like anyone who has gone to engineering school knows will identify with the the background
yeah,
there.
yeah, I feel like it's pretty clear this is a book for engineers. And if there's any
Mm-hmm.
doubt, the subtitle really makes it obvious. So
Mm-hmm.
if an engineer looks at this and something in the back of their mind says, wait, is this a book for me? All they have to do is read the subtitle and they'll say, okay, obviously, yes, it's a book for me as an engineer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then as far as the illustrations go, I agree with the point you made about not having the illustrations go right behind the text, like the subtitle text. I understand you're just moving things around right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on that one that you commented on, that had stood out to me that the illustrations were interfering with the subtitle, but I know you'll
Right. That was,
get
yeah,
that.
there's a lot
Since you
going
brought it
on
up,
here, but it's, yeah.
yeah, yeah, you're just mocking things up and trying things out, so I get that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I agree that the pen doesn't fit and a pencil would be better. I see why you don't like the number two pencil. When you were saying that, I was thinking, well, is there some sort of mechanical pencil that would make sense? I don't know if I mean, is there any sort of standard pencil that a lot of engineers use? Or is it just
There's
kind of,
not.
okay,
Yeah, there's not. But yeah, and this
it's not
one
like
looks
use,
like, yeah. Um,
yeah.
I mean, this one looks
Yeah,
okay, but it
something,
doesn't look like really clean and nice either. It looks a little bit
yeah,
schoolish, you know?
yeah, it's a little bit of a complicated pen, right? I mean, that's the nice thing about the number two pencil is your mind just kind of checks it off and says, it's a pencil. I'm not
Right.
supposed to get anything out of this. It's just a pencil. It connects with the
Yeah.
diagrams.
Yeah.
That's the nice thing about the number two pencil. And so if there's a mechanical pencil, I mean, that mechanical pencil, the gray one, there's just it could be a little bit simpler. It just
Mm-hmm.
there's every little thing distracts people. So people get
Mm-hmm.
hung up on every little design thing that's on the pencil. And we're not trying to attract attention to the pencil. We're just trying to have people say, okay, pencil, great.
Right.
And so, yeah, I would say a different mechanical pencil would fit better than the one that's in there,
Yeah.
but
This
and the
is a great
simpler,
way
the better.
to separate those two, your headline from what you have underneath it as well.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like having this right
This looks
underneath
nice
the
and clean. The
title.
first one looks the best, but that's not the right utensil, unfortunately.
Right. You like that one the best. I
Yeah.
mean, we might remove at least this one because that's kind of behind the text. Um,
Yeah,
and then
you'll want to
adding
think
in
about the
these little
balance, the
things
stuff
here,
in the
like
back.
some of these words that we're talking about, they're just sort of, clarity and goals and decide and some of that stuff, just sort of hints about some of the things that we're going to be addressing in the book. But I don't know
Hmm.
how that supports or not some of the stuff.
Yeah, I go down to the one where the pencil's flat again.
This one.
Um, yeah, I mean, I agree. It does create some nice separation. I don't know if it needs to be flat to separate it, but I mean, there's something kind of precise about it being flat, which kind of reinforces the whole engineering ethos of it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that stereotypical image of the engineer having a desk where everything is straight and lined up on a grid, including the pencil, that it's not
Yeah,
diagonal,
I
right?
haven't met a
So,
whole lot of those in
yeah,
practice. But
yeah, I think that's probably just a funny thing that people put in movies, but
mhm.
um, although my dad's an engineer and he's not quite that precise about how he organizes his desk, but
Yeah, neither am I.
he's probably more organized than most, though. He's not one of those messy desk guys, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Um, so
That one, the one above is the one that has, I think, the best visual balance right now in terms of what goes on behind.
the one thing I would not do is I would not have it tilting down to the right. If you think
Not
about the
down to the
graph,
right. Yeah.
yeah,
So
there was one
at
where it was
least tilting
tilting,
up to, mhm.
yeah, because it's
Not
like a
that.
yeah, like that. It's like a graph, right? We like to see graphs go up rather than
Yeah.
down, and so
So even if the point isn't pointed that way, like still, like it's okay
yeah,
if the point is on the bottom left. We're not saying we're going backwards here, but like the
right,
visual, like our eyes go from left to right, and so it still looks
yeah,
like
and
it's an upward trajectory if we're going to do that.
exactly. Um, yeah,
Yeah. So
I
maybe
think I
finding a really clean mechanical pencil that's not distracting.
mhm.
Um, and then experimenting with either, yeah, I guess then the other question is like the subtitle right next to the title
Mm. I'm not a fan of that.
versus
I like the
having the
separation.
separation. Okay.
Yeah, I
At
like some
least this
sort of
sort of
separation.
separation, or the separation where you've got like, all this stuff, and then
Yeah,
you've got like this.
I like some separation. I would also
Mhm.
give the title more space. So I would move the title down and everything else down and kind of give the top half of the cover to just the title kind of by itself. Like just give it some space up there,
Mhm.
because it is the most important thing. And so some of these, it kind of feels like the title is being crowded out by everything below it. And
Yeah.
I would make it visually obvious that the title is the boss, that it gets the most attention.
So this one looks,
Uh,
at least, I mean, it just looks cleaner around the title. There's not other stuff going on. Um,
Yeah. I mean, I like that one, but I would push
right,
the
right.
pencil
But
down, like,
yeah,
yeah,
push this
put some more
down.
space between the pencil and the title and the pencil
Hmm.
and the subtitle and just push things down.
Okay,
Um,
cool. All right.
but yeah,
That's,
those are some thoughts.
yeah.
Hope
Okay.
that's helpful.
It is. It helps kind of on the refining process, which is what we're doing here.
Yeah,
Trying to
but
be
they all look great. They all look good. The other thing is you might want to include a blurb at the top of your book, like a testimonial from someone. And so that's another reason to push the title down and give yourself some more space in case you want to put something up there,
Mhm.
just like a one-liner from some famous engineer person or something. You can
Yeah.
always have just a one-liner testimonial thing about the book up there. And that looks good and just adds a little bit of create
Mhm.
or authoritative flair to the cover.
Yeah.